either. So with the Azir banned away, things like the Talia, the Vi, I wonder where Vi is going to fall in this tournament, because I feel like we've seen some mixed performances on the champion, but I think that it's still going to be high priority here, especially in this series.
Yeah, and I actually saw some dialogue about Vi yesterday over on the Twibbers, and sort of talking about the fact that she could be a bit of a trap pick. You do kind of get pigeonholed into a draft.
You certainly do.
If you pick her a little bit too early, but I think she's still extraordinarily powerful. We'll see whether they do go towards it. Instead, it is going to be a beautiful Vi partner in the Rumble to be locked in here for rest.
I mean, the value of Yone immediately rising in priority. We've got to remember that Hongkyu, known for his Tristana as well, so they do have a few AED mid options depending on what they want to do with jungle. Something like Sejuani could be a possibility. His go-to favorites. He has a lot of carry performances on the champion, and in particular, I was going to say the Vi and Bessa was something that was kind of taking the world by storm. It was a duo that had great backline access. A lot of the times you would just take it away because you'd see something like the Vi first pick and then the other team would take the Ambessa away just because of how strong she was in isolation. So it can be quite difficult on the red side to be able to get both champs, but with the priority on the Rumble, KC going to lock that one in. Kai'Sa is then usually the follow-up AD carry to synergize with the dive potential on KC's side.
I kind of like the Skarner. Of course, Skarner has been nerfed a bunch moving into this. I think a lot of people thought that Skarner was going to be just kind of ignored for forever. I know right now in solo queue his win rate or pick rate is like in the dumpster entirely. But here, it is because he kind of fits into a whole bunch of different compositions. Whereas an Ahri pairs with Vi pretty well.
100%.
We could say Vi Ahri has certainly been one of the more popular duos as far as jungle and mid lane. Aurora, another champion that can work alongside the punchy lady.
I don't like Aurora anymore, Atlas. I just don't.
You don't?
I think the nerf made it even worse, but I think that her conditions for success are so finite. I think she's relatively short range in terms of her burst combo, and against this composition, where already you can see CFO looking for a very front-to-back style of comp, I think that unless she's able to find flanks, it's very difficult for her impact to really be seen in games. And they're even taking the victor away from Vladdy as well.
And that's the point about Fearless, right?
Yep.
Like, this is... You might think, oh yeah, but he's already picked his mid laner. This means that they're protected in game 2 for that one. And it also really doubles down on what you were talking about. Now, of course, a heck of a lot of magic damage coming out from CFO. We'll see whether that is going to bite them. Of course, Merc Tread's value going to be through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
As Kaiwing thinking what he wants to pick up here. And Leona would be very standard. Such
a traditional front to back. You know, great scaling, great front line, solid engage, good follow-up. It's just a very well-rounded comp that
it is a beautiful Skarner comp as well.
It certainly is. Like, there's so many ways for you to easily follow up on his engages. Meanwhile, KC, I would say that their composition is a little bit harder to execute, especially when you think about priority, right? So in the early game, Rumble, a champion that even after the repeated nerfs, they ended up winning their first split this year, and you're going to hear the KC chants pretty consistent. Winning or losing, they will support their team to the bitter end.
I absolutely love it. It's different to what the fan chants normally are.
It's almost like I'm back at home, I will be honest.
Yeah, you got your little bit, and then we're just both now extraordinarily comfortable as we dive onto the Rift for game number 1. CFO making their first stand debut after being able to take down Talon in their final. And Talon, of course, PSG Talon being a team that we have seen on the international stage
so
many times.
Familiar names thrive in this environment, because like we got to see Camille yesterday, and so many great top laners. This was I mean, that's where they come from. This.
Oh, Junjia looking for an opportunity here, but he does get pinned down by Targamas and takes a couple of turret shots and some autos and some Cathy and Rain, and he's not exactly the most psyched about it.
Good use of the W there from Targamas to still get the knock up through onto Junja and get the CC underneath the tower to force him to back away. The early back going to come through from Doggo.
Oh, yeah. I saw that, because didn't Medic, like, learn the game or something to... no, you learned the game for Medic's birthday. Yeah. That was very cute.
His bachelor party. Yeah.
Sorry, yes. But I'll get something right.
But it's very addictive. I have to be very cautious.
Are you a mono red player?
No.
I only know that because LS used to talk about it. I know that's an aggressive...
I just like to annoy people, so every move that I make is basically determined to wind people up. Now, Grubs have spawned, and it looks like both teams are set on contesting this.
Yeah. They're already dealing with one of them. As we can see, Kaiwing looking for an opportunity. He is itching to press that Zenith Blade button. A couple of those grubs go over, though, and it looks like CFO going to be able to get all of them.
One smite did come through from Yike, so he ended up stealing one away. So it's a 1-for-1, and it will be an advantage gained overall for CFO, but the Dragon's actually going to be started off. So thanks to the aggression that we've got from Doggo and Kaiwing in the bot lane, they've been able to get prio. Ultimate's going to come through to try and chip away at their HP a little bit more, but crucially in the mid lane, Vladdy just losing out on these trades. And we talked about this Victor and the range advantage you have, especially once you get that upgraded E. It's just so easy for you to push and poke, and the champion can be extremely oppressive against, especially against a champion like Aurora. So nice control in the early game around these objectives from CFO.
Well, Jinjia still going to be able to get the stun. There's the Impale as well as it pulled out from underneath the turret. Targamas going down to 200 health as the teleports roll in. CFO with, yeah, I don't know about this one, Bloody. He's going to be able to get himself out of there, but slammed into the wall, and first blood going to Doggo. A phenomenal start here for CFO.
The TP was so slow that it gave CFO so much time to be ready for the arrival of Vladdy. A nice punish comes through from Junja, connecting Vladdy into the wall with the Skarner E and setting up. As long as they're connecting, then it's going to be harder and harder for KC to approach these neutral objectives.
Doggo. Just arcane shifting forward. There's going to be a slow from that solar flare, and Doggo just able to get a bunch of damage in response. But when you arcane shift forward like that, it does hurt my brain, you know, because he was so incredibly confident that everything was going to be fine.
He didn't even have a ward in the brush.
Yeah.
It's just, if
like,
Vi was there,
they
spent some of his gold getting closer to that Trinity Force item spike.
And I think it's so interesting, right? Because there's a lot of drafts that you talk about, like, range advantage being really important, and in certain compositions, it's less. In this one, it feels like it's massive for this early game that is buying CFO so much time, right? The fact that Victor can get so much of his damage down without having to worry about an Aurora, who does benefit so much from being able to layer all of these combos over and over again to put pressure on her opposition, just isn't really a thing. And then on the bottom side of the map, they're going to get
CFO leading in the Dragon department. Casey, keen to contest this, especially given that Kana has made his way down, has the TP available, but with the Eclipse ready, he's going to have a lot of damage at his disposal. Here comes the flank.
Right, yeah, he's going to get the flash out as Honkyu just held in position. There is the public execution as Junjia gets 3 in the Impale. Targamas over the wall, but they are outmanned. There's a true shot barrage onto 3 though, and KC are on the wrong side of the map with not a whole lot of health bar to speak of. Yike able to get himself out of there, but Junji is over that wall immediately. Not a lot of damage following after this fight, but he'll still get slammed into the wall, given that sunlight and taken down. And KC just getting tidied up around this map. It was a decent pick to start things off, but I don't think they had much of a plan after that.
I mean, the combo from Junja and Rest was just devastating. Getting a 3-man Impale, keeping them on the red carpet to just chip away at their HP, completely turn the tides in CFO's favor.
Kaiwing looking for even more here as Doggo raining the damage down. There's another kill for this Ezreal. Kaiwing looking to make his way out as now it's Canna's turn to teleport in. Kaiwing should be a sitting duck, but does manage to get the CC. He'll take out the Leona, but now Doggo wanting to chase after the Ambessa here. A lot of damage raining through these Mystic shots. All of them hitting. He's under the turret. He has the barrier though, and he'll be safe. Canna gets himself out of there as well, but Doggo, yep, no, we got the message.
Away from every situation. And hey, it's only a 2k deficit from the side of KC, but as you rightly said, it feels like that the game is only going to get harder and harder to play as it continues, as the Herald started off by Junja.
Yeah, Junja is becoming a problem as well. You can see that health bar is starting to look very difficult to get through.
Ooh.
As Doggo, yeah, taking a big chunk. Canna now looking for his angle off to the side, smacked into the wall. There's the Impale onto 1. As also Vladdy getting that ultimate in there. A lot of damage is Glyss. Killer Instinct into the backline. Junjia takes down Yike though, and he's so tanky. It is absolutely absurd. True shot barrage. But Doggo's so low, he can't actually get into the fight once again. This flame spitter just not quite enough. And Doggo, he just doesn't want to risk it. KC playing with these health bars beautifully.
Doggo forced out of the fight quite early. Means that he wasn't able to distribute a lot of damage in that fight. And it gave, with the numbers advantage that KC have, that small edge enough to win up. You saw even with that numbers advantage how close the fight still was. The remaining members away. But the Herald will still go down in favor of CFO. In terms of the objectives, they have just been dominating throughout this game.
Yeah, and I was looking for the eye. You know, I was going down, checking out the summoner spells and stuff like that to see where the eye was going to be at, and couldn't find it, and that was because, yeah, like you said, the Herald not even picked up at all. And so now, finally, it is going to go over to Junjia. So that means that this mid-outer turret could be going down, but they could also throw it here towards the top side. As you can see, Honkyu with his little Voidlings having a pretty good time just wailing on this one. And with the fact that it's
under Kaiwing and Junjia, like they're engaged consistently, finding onto the right targets. As you rightly said, in the previous fight, locking down Yike, probably not as optimal as they would have liked, but still, the fact that it ended up only being a 2-for-1 and they still get the objective as the flank now comes through. The TP was spotted. That's a deep flank,
That is a really deep flank. And then you've got the opposing flank to come in from Kana. That was really cool. Looked like, you know, they were pulling shapes on the map here, but it didn't really result in too much of anything at all.
Did not really at all.
The turret didn't go down.
True.
It's on about 6 health.
Now who's Mr. Brightside over here,
Hey,
right?
no, I mean, the KC fans are infectious, and there's a lot of them here. You know, I'm a bit outnumbered, and I'm learning. I'm definitely learning.
Dragon in 20 seconds. Remember that CFO find themselves with 2 so far. They're looking to put themselves on soul point.
Yeah, they do have the shoes of strength, the very strong shoes.
Oh, that they do.
As Junjia looking for that opportunity. On a ward right now is Kaiwing. Gonna get publicly executed. Okay, they dive in, they take her down immediately. Junjia crashing them against the wall. Kana gonna be getting himself out of there as now Rest deciding that perhaps that wasn't the teleport angle he was looking for. A cease and desist on top of the Rumble. He flashes out of there, but the double knockup from Targamas is massive. Equalizer just trying to buy them some space, and it's Yike that goes down. CFO, why did that work?
The target focus from KC was off. Very similar to what we saw yesterday. Vi locking down the Rumble, but Targamas goes to the back line. He sees an angle where he can lock up the 280 carries and they can turn it around. I really enjoy the atmosphere, and it's a really nice arena. So I know you did nothing.
No, I didn't.
You praise.
And in fact, Papa is part of the reason why we have an English broadcast that's here in the arena.
That's awesome.
So we can thank Papa Smithy, but that's still not.
But thank you, Atlas, for bringing us the joy that you always do whenever you jump onto the caster desk.
Betty.
Now, admittedly, EU is quite stressed at the moment, so they're going to need some of that joy almost immediately because the game is slipping away from KC. And as a reminder, this is a really important game for KC, especially given that their games do not get any easier.
Yeah, Callista, he had full health a little while ago, and Doggo saw to that. Great arcane shift, but he still gets knocked up. Callista gets into that back line, but the Equalizer still just being annoying in this fight. Targamas is going to be the first to go down, and Kana, he's going to try and dash his way out, but of course, he's smacked into the wall and taken down. Shut down here for Honkyu as well, whose Victor is just been quietly doing a bajillion damage in so many of these fights. Now moving down towards this bottom side of the map here as CFO. They don't have a dragon to take or anything like that, but there is the voracious Otacon. We've been getting a lot of Ruinuses. I actually was looking forward to my first Ruinous Otacon, and we don't get it. It's just going to be the voracious version, and we are going to get the GAs. The way I like to break them up, if you've got Rod of Ages Otacon and you've got GA Otacon.
I see.
And this is the GA that we've got. I really want Rod of Ages, man.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. I mean, it's a long day still from that.
Yeah, we've actually seen this in international competition throughout the years, right? If it's your first game, if nerves are a factor, scaling is the way, right? You put that pressure on your opposition to make things happen, and otherwise you just try and play for neutral. Just try and keep things as even as possible. As we found a pick towards his top side, Rest getting taken down low, but he does, of course, have the Otacon buff. That is going to take one of those recoveries away and does give some money over. But Vladdy, he's real dead. That's actual dead. And so that 1-for-1 is not going to be a 1-for-1 at all.
I'm impressed that every single pick that KC finds, CFO find a way to trade it back.
Yeah.
That consistently throughout this game,
rotation
it's always
was
1-to-1.
instant.
Yeah, it's just so quick. They're able to avenge their top laner. And while KC have said this,
like, do it again? And do they even have to? Because now it could be Callista that's in trouble. Public execution just to get Kana out of there. Callista gonna have to use that cleanse and the flash in order to escape, and I don't think it's gonna be enough. Doggo, arcane shift forward, cheeky auto attack, and that is a dead Kai'Sa. And CFO are really starting to...
Zhonya's. The barrier is available. No flash for Doggo, but even then, even if you kill him, I feel like at this point, Junjia and Rest have enough damage between the two of them.
This is the problem. It's a 3-threat comp, and all of the threats scale incredibly well. Maybe not necessarily the Rumble as much, but Rest has been playing it exceptionally as, okay, they don't land the Solar Flare, but there's another two-man impale from Junjir, and look at it, he hasn't even lost health. It is absurd, kind of trying to dash around the fight, but he dashes to the death chamber instead. And Yike, he's running the wrong direction, and he's not going to be getting out of this one. Once again, Doggo just hops over, Mystic Shot for the kill, and he's now 5-0-4. He'll have an Infernal Soul in hand. More valuable. I also think that coaches are going to be more and more important moving forward. Understanding exactly what combos are available as you get to a Game 5 is a massive task with all of the champions that will be removed by that stage. We're talking about things that are sort of around the game as, you know, Barons are being taken and the game is being won here by CFO, because there are not a lot of ways back in here for KC, unfortunately, as Kaiwing finding a little combo here on Targamas, who's still Rakan, and so eventually gets to press a button or two, and that gets him to safety. But yeah, Doggo, free reign here on this bottom side. He'll be able to take an inner turret. That is going to be the last one of them available on the map. Only inhibitors to go down next as Yike. I mean, you have to do this, right? You have to go for the ultimate deep flank of all time. Try and find the angle. Who his target's going to be, I have no idea.
Yeah, look at the positioning of Doggo right now as well. Playing comfortably behind his front line. He's even saying, go after Honkyu. It's fine. Target him instead of me. He's got the Zhonya's available, level 16. And
my God.
Look at the poke.
Death Ray has never been named more accurately. As, Kalista's going to be going back to the fountain to mend his wounds. First inhibitor to go down. As Rest chasing after Kana. He was the one that was going for the flank angle this time around as Yike makes his way back to his team. But look at this poke. KC just have nothing to offer back. We mentioned that range before, but when you have this kind of range advantage and then just a massive lead, it's just slow, steady destruction of KC's base.
They're just letting the cannon minions do the work for them, and why not? Now Rest brings the minion wave into mid. Another tower is going to fall, and KC, I mean, it feels impossible to win a fight at this point anyway, but they're going to have to try and pull the trigger soon.
Yeah, or it's decide on what to do in Game 2. Because one more Nexus turret is left up and available. CFO, what an incredible debut here at First Stand. As Junjir underneath this turret, just going to pull Yike away. Cease and desist comes through. They do manage to take down the Skarner for the first time. That's looking good. But now Doggo is unleashed. The rest of KC, their Nexus is exposed. Kalist needs to go back to the fountain once again as Targamas looking for that engage into that backline. Rest, though, just melts them. He's a walking barbecue, and yeah, he goes down, but so does KC's Nexus. CFO